going to make a little video here. It's going to be a little different from what I normally do, and I'm going to be doing a lot of yapping, and I'm going to show photos and stuff of past projects or not. If you've been watching my Instagram, you will notice that I've been putting past projects up and past cars I've owned, and so this one's going to be, I restored a 35 Chevy 1.5 ton farm truck for Wolcott Mill Metro Park back in the late 80s, early 90s. Anyway, I posted photos of the truck finished on my Instagram, but I found some of the photos, they're just pictures, like regular pictures of restoration work. But when I dig into the slides, yeah, I went out to my brother's and we spent another day going through slides using this old carousel slide projector. And so anyway, yeah, I get photos of them and they turn out a little lopsided because I have the projector shining on the wall and I can't zoom in far enough from back where the projector is. So I'm taking, say that's the picture, and I'm taking it from up here so I don't leave a shadow, and it kind of distorts the photo of the slide, so some of them may be a little distorted, but it's been too cold to paint. We've been below zero for nights and teens for highs, and they're talking, you know, it's 20 out right now, 19, 20, but it's like little spits of snow, and they're talking maybe Tuesday might get up warm enough where I can paint. But then Wednesday and Thursday we're supposed to get a foot of snow. That's what they're saying right now, but whether we do or not will remain to be seen. But anyway, I'm gonna get on with making a little video here for you guys. I hope you enjoy it. These are all the photos that I have right now, and like I say, they're just regular photos. And I'm gonna try and I don't know if, let me turn the light off. Yeah, it might help a little better, but the truck, there it is at the maintenance garage. Trying not to get, let me turn off my sign. Hang on, I see it's reflecting. That is reflecting on the photos, so let me turn it off. It's got a little remote here. All right, that'll help. Yes. So that is the truck after I started taking it apart. And this thing had a frame extension and stake bed on it, and they'd pile it with hay, and they'd jump down off the hay onto the roof. So that was all stoved in, and then onto the hood, and then onto the fender, and then onto the ground. And so, yeah, you can see there's not much paint. It has a 206 inline 6 overhead valve. Chevrolet always had overhead valve engines. And 4-speed non-synchronized manual transmission and mechanical brakes. They were not hydraulic. They were like rods with clevises and bell cranks and whatnot. And the truck was a running, driving truck. So this truck, my dad, I don't remember if it was my dad and my brother, or my dad and some of his friends, they're driving up to Port Austin to go fishing. And they passed this truck for sale on a farm on the side of the road, I think up in Deckerville off Van Dyke in the thumb of Michigan. Port Austin's right at the tip of the thumb. And on the way back, my dad stopped and talked to the guy and told him, you know, the Metro Parks was, you know, looking to purchase a truck like this. So they struck up a deal and ended up getting the truck. And it only had that many miles. Maybe we can see on the odometer. Yeah, I'll have to, maybe one of the other photos is better, but as I remember, it didn't have a lot of miles on the truck. And the engine ran good. So anyway, you can see it's at the Metro Park service garage where they allowed me to I just took the doors off. You can see the doors there. Took the hood off and would just take them home a bit at a time because I didn't have room in my garage for the whole truck. It wouldn't fit in my garage. So I took it apart at the service yard there, like I say, and brought the parts home, and I took the cab. And then the chassis, they had a real true hot sea steam cleaner. It wasn't a high pressure washer with water, it was a true steam cleaner. And I steam cleaned the engine, the trans, the chassis, all that stuff, and painted it up in their spray booth at their They have a spray booth there. It would be kind of behind where this dump truck is. It's enough room to park another dump truck behind it over here, and then over here is a spray booth. So it's a pretty big garage. This is just a small section of it. Anyway, so that was all painted up, and then all I had to do was the cab. So you can see there's almost no paint on it. This truck was originally blue. I'll see if I can dig up another one of my photos of it restored so you can see what it looks like. I'll try and put that here because I think I have that on a digital file, so I can just stuff it in here, but it's off of one of these photos at one time anyway. So anyway, that's the truck before. Half torn apart, obviously, and looks like the drums have been turned, getting ready to put brakes on it there. But the truck was drivable. It did have brakes, it did start and run, and it did drive when they purchased it. Okay, so where should we start? The dashboard was the most fun part of the vehicle. Let's start on the cab. I think this is all a cab here. So let's see, this is the bottom. That would be the bottom right side of the cab. The cab corner was a little rotted out, so we welded it in. You can see the original, kind of the original blue paint. Yeah, I'm sorry it's just these photos. Like I say, that's all they are, these photos and slides. This was, you know, pre-digital technology, pre-computer. That was the before. Okay, this is that same corner before repairing the rust and after. So you can kind of see it wasn't too bad, you know, but enough to where I cut it off up there a little bit, and you know, just to make it look a little nicer. This is the front, so this would be like as if you put that there. This would be the front, so I had to rebuild all that too. Here I am doing some welding. And here is that front corner all rebuilt. That corner there all rebuilt. I'm trying not to get reflections on the slides. And then this would be the opposite side front. And I think that just needed cleaning up. It wasn't rusted through. So those were the front, or the cab I mean, that I have. Let's see, this is the roof. So I took the roof off, and this roof, there's little rivets that hold it up in here. So I just ground the rivets off, and I separated all the body panels. You'll see as I go, because there's the roof. And that made that roof super easy to bump out. And it came out really nice bumping it. Worked all the dents, every dent out of it. And this little piece here went underneath this visor here. And I actually had to make that whole piece new. And the front little edge there was rusted out, and I welded that up. There's the roof in metal etching primer. This is the back of the cab. Think that way, I think. So all the framework on these old 30s vehicles was wood, and there was quite a bit of rot in it. So I took all the wood out, and somewhere I'll have more pictures. I'll have the carpenter at the Metro Park made me I'd take the wood out very carefully, not to damage it, and I'd take it to him, and he'd make me new wood panels that would fit perfect. This is the floor on the I think this is kind of like where that's the speedometer cable, you know, some of the wiring for the truck, whatnot like that. Here's a cab view of the passenger side looking down. You can notice the dashboard is still in it. And but I took this, I separated everything that could be separated on this truck. There's the cab sitting in my garage. The radiator grill and couple of the doors sitting in my garage. Running boards, which actually were in phenomenal shape. They basically just needed cleaning and painting. There was no rust on them, so that's primed. That's the underside. They were super clean. This truck I don't think really was driven on the road. I think it lived its life in farm fields and maybe went to the elevator, you know, in the earlier years. You know, it just didn't see the weather. There they are painted, but it's kind of a poor quality. The photo's gone. You know, the quality, the problem with these old photos is they're losing their, I don't know, their pigment or whatever. This is the cab without the roof. So you can see kind of here where it was riveted, and it was riveted around there and around there. And then the window went in the back there. Yeah, I had to take all the glass out. All new glass was made. This is one of the doors. So this is what I think this is the driver's side door. So you can see the rust on that and welded up. Primed up. Metal etch prime them before you body fill them because, you know, the fillers and everything will adhere better, bond better if they're metal etch primed. And the door 100% painted before I did not do the insignias on the door. I had a company called Whitcomb Sign do the Wolcott Mill Metro Park insignia on the doors. There's the inner panel ready for paint. Those were black. I did paint the interior, these panels, black. The headlight buckets. This is more of that one driver's side door, I do believe. Some of the wood that the carpenter made for me at the park. The wood installed in the door. Another one of the wood installed in the door. This is the other door, and it only had 3 dents and 2 little holes in it. So there was a dent there, there, and there. They're circled, magic marker labeled. I don't know if they show up in the video or not. So it took very little to repair that rust. The inside of the door was really nice, so there was no point in doing the whole door. And there it is, the whole door. I sent all the body panels out and had them acid dipped. The surface rust was so bad on that truck, there was no... That was just the easiest way to do it was, I mean, look at the hood. And that was after I bumped it out. That was, you can see where a lot of the surface rust has been kind of worked off of it just from working it with the body hammers. But yeah, it was pretty much all pure surface rust, that truck. And there's the hood primed and ready for paint. The dashboard was the most interesting part of this vehicle. Let me just set some of these photos out of the way here, so I want to spread these ones out a little bit because they're just okay at 45, 55. I can't really diameter says there, but take note of the temperature gauge there. 54,000 miles. I don't know if that shows up in the video. There's the dash painted. The instrument cluster. Notice the temperature gauge is out of the cluster because it was buried on the 212 mark. And it's one of those capillary bulbs. So I took it out and sent it to a company in California that rebuilt it, and that temperature gauge came back like brand new. Really came out nice. But the dashboard, this truck was used on a farm, like I say, and everyone that worked on the farm, I think, carved their name and the date into the dashboard. This truck being a 35. The oldest date my dad and I found on it was 1940. And I think the newest one we found was 68. I don't remember. I think we did photograph it. It might be on a slide. But, yeah, it's just full of names and dates. Memory, here it says Mighty Mel Schultz, 48. There it says Pork, 43. So this truck was only a 5-year-old truck when they started carving up the dash in it with their bill. Bob Hopkins, 47. It's just history, you know, that was it was almost didn't want to restore the dash. I talked to the park. I was like, why don't we leave the dash? One part of the truck unrestored would be the dash, to leave the dash unrestored. They wanted it restored, so I did it. So anyway, yeah, that's kind of was a interesting. There it is, the inside of the cab and the dash, and the dash restored. And as you saw, these are ready, I do believe. Anyway, that was the 35 1.5 ton that's kept at Wolcott Mill Metro Park in Ray Township, Michigan. It's, I think, off Kuntzman Road and off 29 Mile near Kuntzman. So you can, I think the entrance off the park's off Kuntzman Road. The park itself is off, I think the mill is right off Wolcott Road, and I think the farm is a couple miles down the road, and they use this truck to run school groups between the farm and the mill. So the mill is an old grist mill or grain mill, and the farm is where they grow the crops for the mill. And they have cows and pigs and chickens, and it's a full functioning, 100% functioning farm. And the mill, like I say, you can get your corn ground there or whatever, you know, you can buy the corn. They do run the mill there for people, and you know, sometimes they'll turn it on if there's enough water in the head race. It's got turbines down in the head race. It's not a water wheel. They put a water wheel on the building, but that was just all political. The building never had a water wheel. It had turbines down in this pit. My dad and I, we took them to a place in Centerville, Michigan, to have them rebuilt. And they power the mill. And you open these big round valves in the floor, and it opens these gates on the turbines and allows water to start flowing in them, and the mill starts running. So if there's enough water in the head race and the mill pond and head race, they'll turn the mill on for most people, you know, if you ask them nicely. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to share these, and there's a couple other things I'm going to share here too, I think, while I'm at it, because I got the photo book out. So let me put these away, and I'll dig some other photos out. There's the truck finished up. I did find the photo, but I'll try and put well, it's off this photo, the one that's on Instagram, the photo of the truck. It's, you know, it's hard to get good photos or anything of these pictures, but yeah, the truck came out really nice. Like I say, the door logo and the pinstripe on it, Whitcomb sign did that. But I wanted to show you some other things here too. So if you've been watching or looking at my Instagram, you'll notice I've been putting photos of cars from the past. And one was a 72 Ford Country Squire. My dad bought it brand new. I think it was like $5,400 brand new. I have all the canceled checks that I gave the new owner and everything, all the paperwork from new. But this is the day it was sold. It was 2002. Bought a brand new in 72, and we sold it in 2002. He gave the car to me, bought this boat, and it's a 4 Winds 245 Vista, all shrink wrap for the winter, but it had twin Mercruisers in it, twin 4.3 V6s, and he was towing it with the Country Squire, and it did the job. He towed it home from the boat dealer with the Country Squire, and the first time they took it out, and it pulled it out of the water and pulled it down the road, but it was really, the car was overloaded. And so he started using my Chevy pickup to tow it for the remainder of that summer. And then that next spring, a neighbor had a GMC Suburban 4-wheel drive with the creeper gear 4-speed that he bought, and I'll show that here in a moment. But right now I'm going to show you the Country Squire. So here we go. That was 2002, the day, and the guy that bought it, that's his pickup right there. He was there to purchase the car. Now, my dad gave me the station wagon. I left it titled to him, so it'd be a one-owner car. So it's technically still his car, even though he gave it to me. And I never drove it, and I'm going to show you some other photos here in a minute, too, related to this car. I don't know if I think they were on slides, so I might have to overlap them somehow. And they might be a little distorted, but it was a one clean station wagon. Everything worked. The AC still blew ice cold. It was a super nice car. Dad bought it from Ray Dembowski, Romeo Ford. Traded the 66 Ford Country Sedan and a 71 Ford Maverick for it. And there's the 400 two-barrel. Part of the electric trailer brake control over here. Yeah, I used it to pull a travel trailer. That's why I was in good shape. It just sat unless it was pulling a trailer. And so it never really saw snow. It looks like it's running in that photo, and the way I feel it's running is the vacuum motor, the cold, it closed on the air cleaner. It was this was, I think it was in the fall, like maybe September or October of 2 when we sold the car. I just don't remember. But anyway, obviously started it up, and it was not 100 degrees Fahrenheit in the air cleaner yet, so that vacuum door was closed. That's the original paint. Everything on this car was 100% original. Under the hood, air cleaner paint, all that, valve covers, original paint on the body. 100% original car. All right, so there I showed that, and then my 69 Chevy pickup next to a 69 Impala in the same olive green color. Just thought it was kind of neat. That was up at St. Ignace for the Straits Area Antique Auto Show, and I saw that Impala there, so I whipped around and got a picture of the two together. I thought that was kind of neat. And then my dad's GMC Suburban. There it is with the boat. The engine, and you'll see it in the video, the rear axle in that Suburban went out at one point, and he was up north for the bridge walk, he and my mom. And my dad called me and said they're on I-75, and it felt like they drove over a railroad tie, and there was a hole in the diff cover. And I told him, well, if it still moves, drive it back to the campground, and I'll come up and we'll get the thing home. So I trailered up the Country Squire, which had been parked for almost 7 years without being out on the road, and with a full tank of stale 7-year-old gas in it. And we went up, and I loaded the Suburban on the car trailer, and we trailered the Suburban home, and he used the Country Squire to tow the travel trailer home. Well, that only got 8 miles a gallon towing the trailer, so that 20 gallons of 7-year-old gas went out of it quick. That's why I sold it. I didn't really use it. Anyway, there's the Suburban. That's after I put a cam in it. It had a soft cam. It was a 354 barrel. And they were up north and up near Escanaba when the cam wiped out in it. And again, the Country Squire came to the rescue. I loaded it on the car trailer, towed it up to Escanaba. They towed the travel trailer home with the Country Squire, and I trailered this home with my pickup and rebuilt the engine. I put a new cam, lifters, cam bearings, new mains and rods. I didn't pull the pistons. I didn't pull the heads. But I did put a rear main in it because the rear main leaked. Another one of the photos. And again, you saw the one of my dad's boat. But here's the interior. You can see the 4-wheel drive selector lever, and then the floor shifter for the granny gear 4-speed. Had cruise control. Didn't have AC, but it had cruise control. So, which was kind of a must when you're traveling with it a lot. But anyway, yeah, that was his 78 GMC Suburban too. And this truck was what towed that up north and towed that home twice. And I have photos of it, and I'll try and include. So this was when I was taking pictures. That's one of my grandparents' Buicks. Oh, the Orange. I crossed the Pacific from Sydney, Australia to Miami, Florida, went through the Panama Canal on that ship. It eventually burned in the, I think it was a Dutch Holland Line ship. It was called the Orange. But anyway, there's the Country Squire day one, brand new. Let me get the, there. You can see the window stickers still on it. Suburban, Suburban. There's the Chevy pickup towing the Suburban back with the blown differential. And there's the Country Squire towing the travel trailer. The travel trailer was one that my dad and brother and I, we kind of all shared it. And I probably used it the most. My dad and mom used it quite a bit, and my brother used it occasionally, but my dad and I were the two that used it the most. And there's the slide projector we're using to project those to take photos. But like I say, you know, you're kind of on an angle like the screen's there, and I'm like, as if, again, if that first aid kit was a screen, I'm having to photograph like this so I don't, you know, cast a shadow from the projector. So I look stretched out, and you know, it looks like one of those things at the carnival, the photos, you know, of dinner there at my brother's. But yeah, that was towing the Country Squire, was running its first tank of gas during 7 years there. I have to get these pictures out of the plastic slide to get them viewable. But look at that billboard. That was back in the day when I drove a truck and I was on the interstate, and I always carried a camera with me. And I saw that. I had to stop and get a picture. It was advertising Adams Outdoors, which is the sign company that, you know, would rent that space out. And this was, they had to be 86, 87, somewhere around in there, maybe 88. So, you know, that was before 59 Chevys were the, you know, really a common car. And this, my dad would drive my old cars too. He enjoyed driving them. And we had some relatives, they had visiting relatives from Australia. I'm half Australian. My mom was from Strathfield, a suburb of Sydney. But they must have taken the Bel Air somewhere, and they wanted to get pictures. It's a status symbol in Australia, American cars. And there are other ones here with the 60 Chevy. There they are again with the 59. I must have been there now because my wagon's there, my 80 Impala wagon. But yeah, that's just kind of was, and there's the 60 Chevy in the down memory lane parade at the Straits Here Antique Auto Show. But anyway, if you want to see more photos like this, let me know. I got, you know, I'm digging through tons of them. I've been posting them on the Instagram. This I thought I'd do a little video on because I don't get as many hits on my Instagram as I do on my videos. And a lot of you that watch my videos may not have Instagram. So I thought I'd just do it so you could kind of see what I'm doing, you know, what I've done in the past with cars. I just thought, you know, you'd be interested. And I do have tons of other 59 photos. So just to give you the heads up, if you want to see some of those, I can dig them out. This was a beautiful car. I love this car. It was a cream and green with a green interior. It was such a, I don't know if I can get it out of there. Let me see if I can get it out. There was two of them I had to pull out. This one was just a really sweet color combination, that cream and green interior. It just really looked nice. This was unrestored. That was original paint. Absolutely original. It was a 283 Power Glide car. Really super clean. It's my mom right there. Yeah, that was a nice car. This is a two-door version of it. Same colors. That one had been restored though. There's the four-door moving. This car here, right there when they were moving it. But anyway, I can go through some of these other photos too if you want. That's when I first got the 60 on the road. That was its first time I took it out and drove it. That's at Canterbury Village. That's what it was back in the day. This would have been 1983. And you would never recognize Canterbury Village now. It's so commercialized, and yeah, it was almost nothing there then. Just some old stores and where they sold, you know, trinkety stuff, tchotchkes and whatnot. Now it's some massive tourist trap destination. But anyway, I just thought I'd pull them out too. This was at St. Ignace Car Show too, and a friend of mine, I don't know if he's in any of these photos or not. He owns a robotics company. I worked for this robotics company for a year almost to the day. The guy had been bugging me to come to work for him that owned the company. And I finally did, and he promised me it would be no more than 50 hours a week, and it turned out 72 hours a week. So after a year, I went in his office and I told him, look, I have no time. All I do is come to work and go home, and Sundays is just recuperating from the week. So I told him, and some of the guys worked 80-hour weeks. They work 7 days a week. I don't know how they did it. But I told him, I said, you're going to cut my hours to 50 hours within 2 weeks, or this is my 2 weeks notice. So he had a choice at the end of 2 weeks, cut my hours or I was gone. And he couldn't cut my hours. He said they had too much work. I said, well, you're going to be short an employee because I'm leaving. At the end of 2 weeks, I left. But these were his cars at 57, that 50, that's my 59, the Country Squire. Let's see, that's his son. That's his son's friends. But anyway, I drove this unrestored, original 18,000 mile 1950 Chevrolet in the Down Memory Lane Parade in St. Ignace. And this car at one time was actually even owned by John DeLorean. Try and hold it a little more still. You can pause it if you need to, I guess. But yeah, that was a 216, 3 on the tree. I had to pull the oil pan and clean the sludge out of it and fix some oil leaks on it for him. The 57 had a 283 dual quad with a 4 on the floor, and so I had to do a bunch of work on that to get it in top running condition for him. Yeah, he's bought, I think, 4 or 5 of my project cars. I've restored 2 cars for him and kept this fleet of cars running for him for a long time. And then he had a stroke, and he kind of somewhat recovered from the stroke and asked me if, because of the stroke kind of disabled him for about 5 or 6 years. And he called me one day out of the blue and asked me if I could get all his cars going again for him because they'd been sitting all those years. And I was like, sure. So I was making arrangements, starting to set up a time to go out there. I didn't like his wife. His wife was, he kept his motorhome in the driveway because he slept in it so often. His wife was, I don't know. It's just, I'm not going to go into that. But anyway, so I wanted to do it when she wasn't around. I didn't want to deal with her. And before we had a time to set up to do it, he'd passed away. And then his wife called me and asked me if I'd get him going, and I told her no, I don't want to, because she wouldn't pay me. She was just an ultra tightwad. Ken, you know, they're multimillionaires, and Ken always paid me fairly. You know, he paid me an honest wage. He didn't overpay me, he didn't underpay me, and he paid me what I wanted. To where his wife, she would have stuck it to me, so I just declined. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if she sold the cars, or I just don't have a clue. And I'm not going to put any effort into getting a hold of her. It's sad, but that's, you know, you've seen my videos enough. You know the type of person I am. Pretty easygoing, pretty easy to get along with. But, you know, when somebody never has anything nice to say about anyone else at all, ever, and, you know, doesn't want to pay their bills and lies to people, that's where I draw the line. So anyway, but maybe I should just left that bit out of the video. But anyway, that's kind of the way it was. I feel like this video is probably getting too long, but I want to, you know, as long as I'm going through some things, I'm going to show you something else here I think that you'd like. I've been asked this quite a bit. How did I paint the engine compartment or the engine in the Bel Air, you know, to make it look nice? Well, you can't detail an engine compartment really nice unless you pull the engine. And here is what I did. So there I am with the pressure washer degreasing everything. More degreasing. More degreasing, obviously with no engine. Sanded out and masked off. Ready to spray. It was really hot out that day. It was a perfect day for spraying something like that. And there it is with the engine reinstalled. So I just thought maybe I'd throw that in too. And I don't remember, that might have been in the 90s or late 80s, early 90s. I just, 88, maybe 89. I'm thinking late 80s when I finally did that. I did take the Country Squire to some of the car shows. That's the guy right there that owned the 50 Chevy that I did the work for, and did a lot. It had a whole bunch of cars that I would work on for him. But yeah, I did take the Country Squire to car shows occasionally. Yeah, the gloss on this photo album just doesn't, trying to get it so it doesn't get light reflecting on it. Alright, this car already showed on my Instagram. There's an interior and engine shot. Another car, the guy got the 75 Battle Cruiser that was on my Instagram. Bought this car. It was an 85 New Yorker, and this was probably 87, 86 or 7. The old man that owned it hit one of those parking things and smashed the oil pan, broke the oil pickup, and destroyed the engine. It had a 2.6 liter Hemi head Mitsubishi engine in it, and I just went to the junkyard and bought one out of a wreck that had virtually no miles on it and put it in it. There's the interior. And yeah, Steve's dad put over 200,000 miles on that car too. He was a minister, and he preached in Ohio and he preached in Michigan, and he would go to hospitals and whatnot to visit, you know, parishioners and whatnot that were in the hospital. So he put a lot of miles on his cars. Yeah, so anyway, I got pages and pages and pages of cars and stuff. There, that's his wife right there. That's Ken and his wife. His brother and his wife. All right, I'm going to wrap this video up. It's getting super long, I'm sure. And if you kind of like this type of video, if you want to see more photos as I do them on my YouTube, definitely hit a like button, leave a comment if you want to see more of this type of video when I find more photos and slides as I go through them. Otherwise, I'll just upload them to my Instagram, because that's actually pretty easy to do. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I want to wrap it up here before it gets too long. So if you like the video, like I say, hit the like button. The more likes it gets, the more likely I'll put more videos up of past cars like this. If you like my channel, you can hit that 348 engine icon there. That'll subscribe you. And thank you for watching my video.